Good morning, YouTube. It is Sunday, 10 a.m. in the great state of Texas, and it's raining, and it's also hailing. And I really like when it rains and I got the garage door open. I think it really adds something to the projects that I do. So, spring morning here in West Texas. This was in, I believe, April or May. I can't remember. But just a little bit of hail, a little bit of weather. It's a little bit more than just dusty here. So there's my car getting pelted with hail, as you can see there. But hey, let's get to the project. So what are we doing today? So we're gonna do another epoxy resin bowl using some white powder, and we're gonna mix some purple glitter in there. It's gonna turn out absolutely amazing. If you saw my previous project, the green slimer bowl, it's gonna be very similar to this. But I'm, kind of torn between which one is better. This one that we're doing here, this purple bowl, or that green slimer bowl. Hard to tell. I'll let you be the judge. So anyway, we're mixing up about 64 ounces of East Coast resin here right now. Putting this purple flake in there. Got the waste block. Using the 5-quart bucket on this one. You can see that beautiful glitter. In the earlier portion of it, you saw me put that white powder in it. It gives it like a swirling marble effect. I love that effect. It's something that I just recently started doing with some of my projects, and I think it really adds something. If you go back like a couple of weeks ago, I did a green marble type one, very similar type of project. So gotta make sure the tools are sharp. Here I am just sharpening. I don't show this part, but this is super important. And my ripped jeans there, you can see there on my knee. But here we are, sharpening all the tools up, making sure everything is ready to go before we start actually getting this chisel on the blank itself. So here we are, 4.5 hours in the pressure pot. You can see that white marbling effect. At least that's what I call it. That bottom looks absolutely gorgeous. I wish I could just I wish that glitter was like literally that embedded everywhere in the actual bowl itself, because that actually looks really, really cool. But I had to destroy the 5-quart bucket because the glue stuck to the epoxy a little bit, but not a problem. We can overcome that. No difficulties there. So gonna go ahead, get the glue gun that I love so much. I can't brag enough about this glue gun, by the way. I absolutely love it. I'm going to make a table this weekend, and I plan on using that thing for a particular portion of it. Really love it. So if you're in Lowe's, pick up a giant hot glue gun. It's amazing. It's going to save you a lot of time. So here we are, putting that top layer scrap piece on. Going to take the faceplate, get that screwed down using the Ryobi drill, because we don't use DeWalt on the channel, even though I should. This works just as well, by the way. LOL. So got that base plate all screwed on. Having some difficulty there. I've been using the screws for like the past 20 projects or so, so I definitely need to get some new ones. Throwing the blank on there. You can see how large the actual blank itself is. And even when you turn it like that, you can see that it's a little uneven. But it's not going to be any big problem. So here we are, getting that superficial layer off like we typically do in the beginning of these projects. Getting, from what I can remember, I was, for the most part, getting pretty good shavings off. You can see we're getting, like, that dust with a mix of ribbons coming off of that. So usually, the top layer of the epoxy is usually the part that gives me the most problems. But once you get that superficial layer off, then typically you get those nice, fine ribbons that fly off. You can see a little bit of them, like, on the top end of that, just flying off the lathe a little bit. And then we're just coming back once we got that superficial layer off, hitting it with a round carbide tool, getting the bottom all nice and neat. Sorry for the zoom out there. I'm not the best YouTuber. It's kind of difficult. If you guys are any, woodworking YouTubers who do wood turning who watch my channel, I got a big ring light, but the difficult portion of it is trying to get an appropriate camera angle and stay out of the way of the shot at the same time. Because what ends up happening is if I put the camera in particular spots, it'll just get ribbons all over it, and then I'm having to stop literally every 10 seconds to clean the camera lens. So I do apologize for this portion of the video. Don't worry, it's not like this the whole time, but I want to just go ahead and leave that in there just so you guys can see kind of what we're doing here. So I appreciate you guys being patient with me. So once we got most of the bowl shaped the way we want, then I came back, hit it with the flat skew and round carbide tool on the bottom portion of it. So at this point, we're ready to make a mortise. You got that nice pine board waste block in the middle. This part goes relatively easy, making sure where everything is adjusted, making sure the banjo is an appropriate height so I can get in there and get that dug out. And we are good to go. I guess not, because we went back. Sorry, this is literally the first time. I think this is like the second or third time, but I literally have had this video loaded in my computer for about a month, and I'm just now getting to the commentary because I've been so busy with work and getting these projects out to you guys. So once we got the mortise built, then we're just taking the faceplate off. The blank itself, you know, up until this point, it's going really well, not having a lot of issues. And now we're just taking that waste block off, as we typically will do. But ever since I got that glue gun, I have been using a copious amount of glue. So I'm having a little bit trouble taking the chisels and getting that off. I'm just going to have to stop showing this part of the projects that I do because I put so much glue. I've had so many things fly off the lathe. That's why I use so much hot glue. You might go, Saul, why don't you just, don't use so much hot glue? And I was like, well, what's the point of having a giant glue gun if you don't use it? That's all I'm saying. But I don't want anything to fly off the lathe, so that's another big reason why I don't do that. So here we are. Now we're just taking off that superficial layer. Again, I do apologize for the shoddy camera work. Again, if you've watched my channel for any amount of time, I do show all my failures, and most YouTubers probably wouldn't even publish anything like this. But we show everything on this channel because it's important to show progression. And my face shield is pretty much all you're seeing. But you get a little bit of it in there. Everything's nice, neat, and even. You can see there I'm resting the chisel on top of the blank itself. So everything's going pretty smooth. So here we are. Now we're just doing the gouging part. This went relatively smooth. The waste block took up a lot of sections of the bowl. So it was a lot easier to get in with the chisel and get everything nice and even. Had the waste block pretty much turned without any kind of real difficulty up into this point. And now we're just getting the outer edges, trying to adjust to make sure that we hit the appropriate depth so we don't go all the way through the mortise, and working out the edges. But what I've learned is once the middle portion is actually, gouged out, coming back and hitting it with the round carbide tool, because you can see here I'm getting a lot of chatter, and that's just the chisel hitting the side of it. I need to be more patient and use that round carbide tool, kind of like I'm doing right now on those edges. So typically the gouging part is good for wood, but I have a lot easier experience when I come back and hit it with a round carbide tool a lot of the time, or at least most of the time I do. I don't know. I've done so many projects in the past, like I'd say 4 weeks, that I'm starting to get the hang of this to where I can just do these bowls a lot more effectively. Just tips of the trade, I guess. I'm rambling now. Sorry, I apologize. So once we got the majority of how thick we wanted the lips of the bowl, fixed the sides of it, making sure that everything is nice and even, trying to adjust everything to where we get it at the appropriate depth, and making sure that the edges aren't too thin. Because if you saw, I think it was like 2 or 3 videos ago, it might have been last week's video, I don't remember, I ended up popping the actual side of the bowl off because I went too thin on the edges, but didn't have that problem. As you could see from the thumbnail, this actually went pretty smooth. So here we are. This is probably a little bit better angle. You can see me, wearing the face shield. Wear your face shield. Can't say enough about that. Getting everything nice and even the way we want on the bottom of it. Really like this angle, and by this time I'm pretty happy with where we're at. We're almost nearly done with the gouging portion, and then we'll go on to my favorite part, which is of course sanding, because you can never do enough sanding in woodworking. So now we're just cleaning up the edges nice and neat. And you can see we're still getting pretty good material off, and the bowl is pretty much almost done. Here's one more angle where you don't see the back of my head. This makes up for earlier in the project where you just saw the top of my dome, which is not entertaining at all. So here we are, just cleaning everything up. You can see the height of the banjo. We got good ribbons on the lathe itself, and we're pretty much done up into this point. Not a whole lot else to do, but if you guys are interested in these projects and you want to see them before the videos come out, follow me on Instagram and TikTok, Salty Texas, same on both platforms, and you can see all of these projects before I put them out, because I only put out 1 video a week. So a lot of these projects you guys don't see until months later. But here we are, all done, cleaned up. You can see all the ribbons all over the workbench. This is just one bowl It's amazing. It always amazes me how much material comes off of just one bowl. But here we are. It's nighttime when I'm doing this, so you guys won't get to see, unfortunately, the way the sun sparkles when we end up cleaning up the bowl. But here we are after we got everything cleaned up, hitting it with 340, going all the way up to 1500, and then coming back and hitting it with the micro mesh like we typically do once we get all the dry sanding completed, because sanding that's how you make your money. That's how you make sure everything looks good. And you see a little bit of my shoulder. Bam. Again, another bad angle. Hey, when we get monetized on this channel, I'm going to get better cameras. I promise. We're going to get better at this, guys. So once we did that, then we came back, hit it with the micro mesh, and now you can start to see a lot of that color come out. That purple looks absolutely amazing. I really love the way this turned out. Can't say enough positive things about how much I love the way this bowl looks. And I think I like this bowl better than I do my Slimer bowl. My Slimer bowl was good, but this one, the purple flake, the way the color, the white, and the marbling that you kind of get with it, absolutely love this. I think it turned out absolutely fantastic. You can see here, it looks absolutely gorgeous. I love it. My plan is when the channel starts to get a little bit bigger, you guys are watching this toward the end of 2021. Again, I did this back in April of 2021, somewhere around there. April or May. But I want to start giving some of these projects away when we start getting a little bit bigger and we start getting a little bit bigger, channel. But really hope you guys like the project. Again, sorry for the shoddy camera work. Really love this project. Hope you guys got something out of it. Don't forget to subscribe. Here we are, all done, nice and neat. You can see all that beautiful flake in it. This definitely is better than my Slimer bowl, for sure. I absolutely love this. And if you guys ever have any questions, feel free to comment. But don't forget to subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 before the end of the year. You guys are probably watching this in October or November. Trying to get there before the end of the year. We'll see where we're at. But hope you guys are all doing well out there. And I will see you guys in the next project. Peace.